4:42 p.m. as you can see on April 1st, 2025. And as I have pointed out, I'm going to go ahead and get video. The fake sun is outside of the apartment, and this is engineer light that has nothing to do with sunlight. This is the identification of a surveillance system. It is the evidence of what is a fake sun, however, while the entity is engaging in that. And this is what's happening on the same time in Los Angeles at AVANATH.
Oh, this is a group stalker while LAPD's crossing path in helicopter. Hi, this is P.O.C. Yeah, she's going to federal prison. That's P.O.C. That's crossing path in close proximity, not coincidentally. That simultaneous conduct, that simultaneous presence. Remember, on the engineered light, demon stalking the path with light. That's amplified audible activity while she's turning in a rent check. Okay, under light source, it's 1:43 p.m. The light source remains directly over me. The enemy is maintaining the light source over me, which is what you saw was directly over my apartment, and then it remains directly over.
Not only is it over me like it was earlier in the video that I captured, and on this day in 2024, it's outside of my living room window at 1806 North Alvarado Street, apartment number 6 at 10:37 a.m. That's facing the hillside in Los Angeles at that apartment complex. And then I go downstairs to my office, and the entity is keeping the fake sun over me. This is throughout the course of the day. Even that duration of time is speaking to the P.O.C., but I maintain a body of evidence. And the entity that has the fake sun over my head here in Los Angeles, as you can see at the top right here, this is what I'm pointing out above, at 1810 North Alvarado Street, it's over my head in the same way. This is a mutual zenith that's over apartment number 41 and 45. That's not over apartment 1810, the building at North Alvarado Street in Los Angeles, California, and that's clearly shown. It's also not reflecting off of windshields while it's over at the same time of year, and I'm showing you it's reflecting off of a windshield of a vehicle that's in Ontario, California. This is the entity whose criminal engagement and whose mental illness, because why would a police department be stalking a woman that has committed no crime? Why is a police department using resources? Why is a mayor and a fire department, a police department, a senior citizen complex, a citywide population, as I've shown the P.O.C. from city to city and county to county, engaging in this, and that is speaking to mental illness. This is indeed demon possession, which is shown through the environment that defies nature. The sun that's over 1810 North Alvarado Street at the same time is not creating any sunlight through the peephole or inside of Tracy Banks's apartment, which sunlight doesn't do that anyway. This is light that's bending underneath into structures, reaching into the depths of a building, which is an impossible occurrence. And you also know that this is the sun because on this day in 2024, the entity kept the fake sun over me. And you know, just like you saw yesterday, the fake sun that's reflecting off of this vehicle, license 8VKP279, who's a gang stalker by virtue of this impossible occurrence, it is still here after 5:30 p.m., aiming in perfect alignment with me through this same patio glass door, while I'm showing you at the same time where LAPD is gang stalking like Ontario PD were in the video that I captured, while they're engaging in a grand exposition of impunity. Cycles that are so obsessed, they willingly sacrifice their career in law enforcement. They willingly sacrifice their liberty, their freedom, but they don't have any liberty to gang stalk as a police department. That's a police department that is engaging in what is domestic terrorism in order to commit murder and defame innocent American citizens, which is why they're gang stalking at Woodside Senior Apartments under a fake sun.
Over me while I'm at my office. Now, this third party is always on the grounds, group stalking by remaining present with the Monarchines. She's group stalking. I will remind you about her license plate, but I want you to look at this impossible light also. This is impossible light. It's just touching the surfaces. That's it. All you have to do is pay. All right, and that's she comes to come in close proximity, which is a presence by a demon who was stalking in the path at the specific environment. This is also documentation of impunity. Everybody at Alvarado Gardens is going to federal prison, and she is here visiting regularly and also just engaging in the pattern of conduct with LAPD. That's P.O.C. JEBKJC6. That's impunity. She's going to federal prison. And here's the light source that remains over me. If you'll recall my documentation at 1:45 p.m. on April 29, 2022, the light source is in this position that is in its zenith over my head while I'm standing in front of state facilitating venue of the Fontana Police Department, who were group stalking there. The sun is not over the Fontana Police Department, at the same time while I am in the city of Ontario. Also not the city of Ontario, but I'm currently in the city of Los Angeles. This is not occurring at the same time. This is the maintenance of a specific environment, and you're also looking at, again, the impossible light activity, which has nothing to do with the sun, has nothing to to do with the placement of the light source. This is how you get what is light in the depths of hallways. Right? Light that appears in the depths of hallways. This is how you get light that appears on my ceiling from you seeing the demon-possessed state actor. That is LAPD providing ongoing
The demon-possessed state actor, Ontario Police, providing ongoing corroborating evidence against the people of the state who are gang stalking at Woodsides in your apartments under a fake sun that is at the same time, on the same day, 365 days ago, over me in the same manner, which is identifying federal group stalking monitoring by a state. To capture that phenomenon in one city is to document the state. To capture it within 2 cities and 2 counties and the pattern of conduct by those 2 cities and 2 counties is prosecuting the state. This is what the U.S. government is doing throughout the country. That's how you're able to have what is this supernatural occurrence, which is not in New York. This is not in New York, which is 3 hours ahead of us.
corroboration against the people of the state. It is sad. Building 1800 through building 1818, that's the whole property. They're all going to federal prison. Everybody that lives here is losing custody of their children. This is state surveillance, criminal surveillance, and they are engaged in a perpetual sex offense while they're also keeping me under surveillance inside of my private space. The government does not have a right to place an American citizen under surveillance directly. I will repeat it again. They cannot enter into my private space and place me under surveillance. They cannot remain in a helicopter and place me under surveillance. They cannot engage in parking outside in the parking lot or on the street on Alvarado Street and place me under surveillance. And they also can't do it vicariously through the people of the state who are surrounding demons, engaging in a demonic, ritualistic method system of group stalking and monitoring. You will not do it directly or vicariously, and that's why they're all going to federal prison. All the children that live here are going to be taken from the custody of the people of the state, engaging in this act of terrorism and state surveillance with the government, and it is also occurring within a pattern of conduct, and that's how you have at 1:45 p.m. the light source over my head and in zenith in the city of Fontana, where, by the way, that city of Fontana at the Fontana Police Department, that same location.
Obviously, this is not the Fontana Police Department either. This is documentation on April 29th. The Fontana Police Department are remaining on the record. They are being prosecuted while I prosecute the state of California, including while LAPD engaged in the same exact POC that Fontana Police Department are doing in a specific environment where the fake sun is over the Fontana Police Department at 1:45 p.m. The current time right now, while the fake sun is not over the Fontana Police Department, it is 1:49 p.m. And that's speaking to the identification of a facilitating venue where surveillance is underway, just like the Ontario Police Department, by the way, with the fake sun over my head at its department. It's already on the record.
I'm there. Oops. Occurring within a pattern of conduct, and that's how you have at 1:45 p.m. the light source over my head and in zenith in the city of Fontana, where, by the way, that city of Fontana at the Fontana Police Department, that same location, I'm there at 9 o'clock in the morning. I'm there at 10 o'clock in the morning, for example, and the entity is maintaining its light source over me and its zenith. That's not the sun also when you look at it and analyze it from that vantage point. And you already know that the entity is maintaining the light source here at Alvarado Gardens from the beginning till the end of the day, which is what I captured at 7:09, 7:10 a.m., while the light source is rising in alignment to me, molesting me inside of my private space, while you're also looking at what's the sun rising in Upland, California. How is that? It's called the P.O.C. That's how. That's how. All right, and that is ongoing corroboration against the people of the state. Everybody, I don't care how old they are, they're going to federal prison. This is P.O.C.
Alrighty, that is the pattern of conduct. I just wanted to get that. This is what LAPD is doing with regard to that POC. And not only is the entity engaging in gang stalking under a fake sun that you can see over the top of my head, as I documented on this day in 2024, which is an environment that defies nature, because the sun that would be over me in Los Angeles at Alvarado Gardens, specifically at that location in that manner in its zenith, that's a very specific position for the sun to be in, by the way. And we don't all experience that same mutual experience with regard to the same precise angle under the sun, no matter where you are, or no matter whether you're stationary or traveling, and no matter what direction you're traveling in, from the beginning till the end of the day. That's not the natural environment. And not only did I capture that, I captured this 1:47. Both of these are captured within this environment. So let me show you the pattern of stalking with engineer light that you are also familiar with. While the entity engaged in gang stalking today by the Ontario Police Department, the Ontario International Airport, and they're still doing so now. The entity just engaged in pacing in planes and helicopters to further confirm that they are indeed obsessed with me, that they are indeed engaged in gang stalking, they are indeed continuously to spiritually attack, maintaining a psychological warfare which the demons have failed in, and they've also failed in gang stalking and trying to keep that a secret. This entire system has exploded, and it's imploding even while the entity is still targeting and has lost in that effort to do so secretly, because that's the entity that wants to target you and wants to falsely depict you as being somebody that's paranoid, and it doesn't work when you prosecute it.
Sexual violence and harassment by an entity that is engaged in federal group stalking and monitoring in the workplace, okay? This is documentation of what is sexual violence. None of this is naturally occurring. This is that ongoing obsession to not only place under surveillance, but also to molest and offend and touch for a criminal purpose, all right? And it is something that is not even naturally occurring. The analysis is as follows. It's currently 1:47 p.m. A body of evidence already exists as to what the entity was surrounding me with when I was in an entirely distinct location. But again, over at the Fontana Police Department, which I'm still capturing video on April 29, 2022, that video was several minutes long, and at 1:47 p.m. I remain on the property of the Fontana Police Department. And there is no sun that's going to be over my leasing office in Ontario at 1810 North Alvarado Street.
And the same goes for there is no sun that's going to be over Tracy Banks' apartment at Woodside Senior Apartments, apartment number 51 in particular, or any apartment building. It would not be over Woodside apartments in Ontario at all. Not only is it over Woodside, it's over me at Woodside. And this is the case when you are looking at this video and I walk outside into the parking lot, and that fake sun moves as I move into the parking lot. You see, it's no longer over the building anymore. While I walk into the parking lot, it moves as I move to be over me in the parking lot. This is an entity that is stalking under a fake sun. The population is maintaining presence all around me on the ground and in the sky space, while the engineered environment remains around me. This is also what I document when I'm in my vehicle traveling about from city to city, from place to place. This is literally defying nature. That's not the natural environment, and it's also not the natural environment while it's still in this manner, in alignment to me, that is, after 5 p.m., which is what I documented yesterday evening, where you will see the evidence in this video. Oh, by the way, this is the fake sun today, this morning, which I want to document on video. Let me show you. Not only is it not the sun, the natural environment, as I'm documenting in this video on this day in 2024 at 1:47 p.m., because it's remaining outside of my living room window at 10:37, over the top of my head of my front door at 12:51. I go downstairs to my office at 1:42. LAPD's gang stalking on video. When I capture that documentation, I capture impossible light activity inside of my office, my shadow appearing at a distance away from me as I open up the door in shade. That's demonic. That's also a sexual act of molestation of my body, while demons who are obsessed with you, they violate you in ways that are supernatural. They are also doing so with the psychological component, spiritually attacking the one whom they are gang stalking in the physical. Okay, this is the entity that is gang stalking under a fake sun at Woodside Senior Apartments, and it's still here as I'm documenting in this video at 1:48 p.m. And as you know, after 5 p.m., I've documented after 6 p.m., but I'll just get what I got yesterday. After 5 p.m., where the entity kept the fake sun over me on this day in 2024, there was no deviation. The sun didn't continuously moving like the natural environment consists of. The sun is not sitting over an apartment over your head, wherever you live, over all of us, in other words. Speaking that there will be one sun per every person, that's ridiculous based on what the entity is doing with this fake sun. The entity is engaging in a pattern of conduct. You're looking at it. This is the position that it's in this afternoon when I walked into the parking lot. This is the same position. All I did was I walked out into the parking lot. But as you're looking at, while the entity keeps the fake sun moving from one side of the building to the opposite, this is at 4:42 p.m. This is what the entity was doing with the fake sun right now when I walked outside. This is what an entity is doing, stalking with the fake sun, and it's still here after 5:30 p.m., which is what I documented. And I'll go ahead and show you that. 5:30 p.m. This is essentially the same thing that I'm documenting as I walked outside right now into the parking lot, and the fake sun is over the top of my head as I walk out there. Hold on, let me. This is essentially the same location where it is in the morning. Well, it's earlier in the day when the entity keeps the fake sun over the top of my head no matter where I walk. So as I walk to the same position out in that parking lot, that's where the fake sun is sitting in position, the same position that it is right now. This is where it's going to be as I documented at 5:30 in the evening yesterday, which is speaking to stalking by a population in a readily identifiable environment that defies nature. Okay, that's where the fake sun is, where it was right now during the course of this video. The entity is engaged in gang stalking as I documented on this day on April 1st, 2024 at what is 1:47 p.m. This is documentation of the entity that is engaged in the same P.O.C. This is what is illustrating the significance of gang stalking by police departments.
BUNI.
Like you see here, pacing on one side of the building in plane and helicopter.
Who are monitoring on my device. Well, you will see on April 1st, 2024, the entity is gang stalking while I'm living in Los Angeles, where there's no sun over my front apartment. I cannot hear the plane that's at that elevation, at that distance. This is the demonic environment. And you're looking at demons who are gang stalking commercial planes. Paul Leon is being removed from office. Gang stalking by Paul Leon is being removed from office.
That's the gang stalking police department, the gang stalking airport. Using planes and helicopters to engage in surveillance. They were already over this apartment building when I began capturing video. Then they engage in pacing and doing so in an environment where the fake sun is remaining over me. That's understanding the system of federal group stalking and monitoring. Okay, this is the entity that's doing so in an environment where this fake sun remains until the end of the day. Where you're looking at it at this location at this time of the day. This is where it's in the same position after 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. It's over this same tree. Just pay attention to the landmarks. This is the same thing that it's doing into the afternoon when it's reflecting off of windshields, and the entity is creating impossible light activity inside of Tracy Banks's apartment, as though the sun is that sort of object that both sits idle and reflects off of objects and causes supernatural light that shoots like a laser into buildings. So let me show you where the position of that fake sun is at 12:45 in that video that I captured. And you're looking at, it's going to be in what is the substantially exact same position to where it's reflecting off of a vehicle that's parked in the same parking lot at the same parking spot hours later, and it's the cause of light activity is supposed to be, oh, it's now reflecting off of a vehicle in the same parking lot over the same building. Highly illogical, highly unintelligent, highly asinine, highly demonic. Okay, this is an entity that never anticipated scrutiny of the satanic environment. All right, never anticipated what is being proven to be demons. This is the entity that is gang stalking 2:46 p.m. This is a fake sun that's reflecting off of the vehicles that are parked in the same parking lot, where you're looking at it as I walk out to this location at 12:45 p.m. Well, it's in a position to where it's going to be in the same exact position, reflecting off of a vehicle that it's above. And it's not in Los Angeles, while it's reflecting off of a windshield of a vehicle in the same parking lot, where both it's in alignment at 9:46 in the morning over the same building, substantially similar location, 12:45 p.m. like I documented today. And this is where the entity is gang stalking by stalking with light by the appearance. Understand, it's not actually the fake sun that's reflecting off of this vehicle that's causing light inside of Tracy Banks's apartment. This is breaking down what is supernatural. You're looking at it in front of your face. First of all, understand that under all circumstances, this cartoon environment is the prosecution for gang stalking. But you need to know what you're looking at is not actually necessary. The fake sun isn't necessary for the creation of this light activity inside of Tracy Banks's apartment. The demons that are gang stalking are always trying to maintain some sort of explanation, even as asinine and how much of a non-explanation it is, because the sun doesn't reflect and bounce like lasers off of objects. But this is what the entity is always trying to rationalize. That is to make carnal, make a physical explanation for what is absolutely supernatural.
Hey, this is the entity that is gang stalking by virtue of recognizing the specific environment. The entity that has the fake sun over the same apartment building, which it's substantially similar to where I documented it at 12, over the center of the apartment. And
for it to be reflecting off of this vehicle, just exactly what you saw today at 12:45 p.m. while I walked to the same parking lot, the fake sun would be in the same position. And this is where the entity is gang stalking by the residents inside of apartment number 55. This is a psychopath, and she's being diagnosed for her mental illness while she's engaging in the criminal pattern of conduct, and is obviously one that is worthy of what is a raid, while all the cockroaches that are gang stalking, and obviously so, while it is underway under a fake sun that remains over the elderly in one specific building from the beginning until the end of the day, where the government is obviously gang stalking with them, using all manner of planes and helicopters and supernatural means of criminally interfering with quiet enjoyment. Amplified plane, amplified train, amplified helicopter, even amplified elderly people walking around, and it's causing earthquakes. It's causing like they're bowling inside of their apartments, like they're throwing their bodies around, like they're cracking the ceilings and the walls. That's speaking to psychological torture, and people are going to prison no matter how old and ragged you are. You and your swollen ankles are going to prison. All right. The entity is gang stalking while they're maintaining a noise level. And this is the light activity where they are being so noisy. That is the formula for criminal monitoring. This is what's happening.
This is speaking to the environment where a bunch of demons, as you can see me moving around and having multiple shadows. This is not sunlight. None of this is sunlight. And it's also speaking to what is not the sun, to be in a position to be reflecting off of the windshield.
And that's the same position. This is at 2:46 in the afternoon, where again, hours later, it's what is in a negligible, that's non-movement. 4 hours at 4:41 p.m. what I documented yesterday, it's in the same position that it was when I both walked into the parking lot, and it's also in the same position. You're looking at it reflecting off of the same vehicle. This is non-movement. This is the asininity of the demons who are gang stalking. Not only are they unintelligent, they're psychopaths. This is a whole comprehensive system that the federal government is going to be responsible for with regard to making the target individual whole, and with regard to being prosecuted for domestic terrorism and psychological torture, because you have the demon possessed that are abusing their positions in government, who are conducting these experiments on American citizens, and they will be prosecuted for it. No American citizen cares about the explanation. Nobody wants any excuses. It is irrelevant when your life is being hunted down, and the government shall compensate, and the government shall be prosecuted for it, period. All right, the entity is engaging in this, while the pattern of conduct, you're looking at 5:30 p.m. That's a negligible difference from reflecting off of a vehicle at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, the vehicle that's parked here, and the entity that's keeping the fake sun, and then it's over the same exact location after 2 o'clock in the afternoon. 3 hours later, I'm looking at the same thing, and this is where I am. This is when you're understanding and looking at the bigger picture. This is the same thing when at 12:45 p.m. I walk outside. This is the chicanery, the nonsense, the asininity of gang stalking. When the let me go back here. When the entity is engaging in that P.O.C.
Speaking to their mental illness.
And I want you to see.
Leon is being removed from office. Not hear the plane that's at that elevation, at that distance. This is the demonic environment, and you're looking at demons who are gang stalking commercial planes. Paul Leon is being removed from office. Gang stalking by Paul Leon is being removed from office. Talking with the population, which is identified through a specific environment that defies nature, juxtaposed with the specific environment in Los Angeles on the same day
at the same time. And I want you to see it next to the tree where it's in the same position at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:46 specifically, when it's reflecting off of a vehicle in the exact same position. When it is in a negligible difference, that's the same thing at 5:30 p.m. when I'm capturing a picture of the same location. It's non-movement, where stalking is underway by a whole population and their demons. And their whole secret operation has been blown.
This is where the fake sun is still reflecting off of windshields, and that's what's happening after 2 p.m. The fake sun is in the exact same...
That's the same position it's going to be reflecting at 2:46 p.m. That's the same position it's going to be when I am inside of the apartment, and at 4:42 p.m. I'm looking at that light source, and at 5:30 p.m. you're talking about what is still outside of the same patio glass door, and none of that is in Los Angeles, as I'm showing you what's over my head at 1:47 p.m. on this day in 2024. Okay, this is the asininity of stalking under a fake sun, and this is speaking to what is a federal raid. Okay, while the government is going to be, I'm literally blowing the whistle while the federal government itself is responsible for what is a statewide system. And so this is speaking to public exposure, public corruption, removing the infected demons that are in office in California, the infected demons that are in position in federal agencies that are facilitating and enabling federal group stalking and monitoring, as I prosecuted it in California and in the state of Nevada. Don't forget, at 12:08 p.m. on August 5th and August 6th, I'm driving from California to Nevada on August 5th, 2024, and I'm arriving after about 4 or 5 p.m. and the fake sun's remaining over me, where the entity is going to keep the fake sun in alignment to Tracy Banks's patio glass door in the evening. The entity is keeping the fake sun where I am capturing the fake sun that's remaining. And remember, August 2024, that same time, we're in the same time, daylight savings time, we are on. This is the same exact time. The entity is engaging in what is the idiotic system of keeping a fake sun from the beginning to the end of the day. So you're going to have a field day with a very easy prosecution when you have the evidence, understanding how gang stalking works and what it looks like. The entity is keeping the fake sun over me when I'm in Las Vegas, Nevada, exiting Courtyard by Marriott at 12:08 p.m. I'm driving around on the roads and the highways in Las Vegas, Nevada. I'm documenting license plates and the entity that's gang stalking Nevada State Police, who engage in criminal summoning both at my entrance of Nevada, Las Vegas, and at my exit of Las Vegas on the 15 freeway. They're engaged in criminal summoning both ways, while the fake sun is remaining over me in Nevada. There's only one. In addition to what is very obvious as well, there's no sun in this country over you on the East Coast. There's no sun over you in this country in the South. There's no sun over you on in Central California. Okay, the entity is engaged in a very obvious pattern of conduct, and it is satanic. And there is no making sense of what is this light activity in an environment where that illusion is serving for what is the reality of what is a massive federal prosecution. All right, and the entity's continuous engagement in that prosecution is literally the evidence of what is the mental illness of those that is not questioned. If you questioned whether there was some reasonable basis, maybe just to prosecute, not maybe, but to prosecute for the crime, but not necessarily the mental illness component, you are not questioning that reasonably. It is the pattern of conduct, and the pattern of conduct, the evidence of it is the very same material with regard to, and the expertise of actual legitimate professionals to diagnose mental illness psychopathic in nature. Highly malicious and psychopathic in nature. It is currently 2:07 p.m. on April 1st, 2025. This is P.O.C.